What's good, everybody? It's your boy Matthew Maley for MatthewMaley.com. Well, as you can tell, got the Ray Lewis jersey on. It's time for another football review. This time for week number 12. So we'll start it off with the pros, and then we'll go to fantasy, let you know how everything's shaking up, and we'll go from there. So first off, let me say happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Hope everybody out there had a great Thanksgiving, and well, hopefully you guys ate some great food, watched some good football, and had a good time, honestly. Hopefully that's what happened. So let's get right into it. There were some great games on Thanksgiving. We had 3 games. 2 of them were actually pretty decent games. One was an absolute shellacking, which was cool for Tom Brady's sake. Really glad I kept him. But definitely 2 of the games were pretty solid back and forth action, as well as some controversy. So first off, we had the Texans playing the Lions. Texas ended up winning it. In the end, ended up winning, I believe it was 33 to 30? 30 to 27, I think. But the big thing everybody was talking about afterwards was Ndamukong Suh, after all of the drama from last Thanksgiving when he stomped on the Green Bay Packers guy's arm. This year, he was being taken down and flailed his foot, and he says it was completely incidental. I don't necessarily know if it was actually... I don't know. It's tough to see. When I first saw it, I said, no way. That was complete accident. No chance. But then I saw another view where it looks like his foot extends, and he kicks Schaub, as Mike and Mike have been saying, right in the ding-ding. So, definitely don't know about that. We'll see what happens if he gets suspended. I hope he doesn't. If he gets suspended for that, I think it's corny, because there isn't, in my opinion, indisputable evidence that it was intentional, in my opinion. Then had a really solid game as well from RG3 and the Redskins against the Cowboys. RG3 came out, had 4 touchdown passes, ended up leading them to a great win. Dallas ended up fighting back, but it was too much. RG3 and the Redskins took it down. And then finally, as I mentioned before, the Patriots flambéed the Jets. What was it, 40 or 38 to 10? I'm sorry, no, it wasn't 38 to 10. That was the score of the Giants. 49 to 19. Yeah, really a destruction. But definitely got me some good points for Brady. So that was our Thanksgiving days. So some pretty good action there. Then we get around to Sunday, which had some great action here and some horrible action with the Cardinals. So we'll start with the loss because it was pathetic. Ended up Cardinals were playing the Rams. Halftime we were up 17 to 14, looking okay, not great but okay. And then did not score another point for the rest of the game and ended up losing 31 to 17. As many people know, Cobb is still injured, and Skelton played horribly, so they benched him. So Ryan Lindy, the rookie, is in there and ended up throwing 2 pick sixes to the same guy, Janoris Jenkins, who ran both of them back. Obviously, that's what a pick six is, and that really hurt us. Really hurt us. Beanie Wells actually showed up, did pretty well, had 2 touchdowns, only had like 50 yards, but 2 touchdowns, which is solid for him. And both teams were pretty much even on time of possession and offensive yards, but the big killer, they only had 1 turnover, we had 4. So pretty ugly game. The Rams are not a very good team, but God, it's just disgusting. Losing both games to them is horrible. And after starting off the season 4-0, we have proceeded to go 7 straight losses because we did have a bye weekend there. So we are now 4-7. Really hope we can win this coming week. It's going 4-8 after winning 4 games to start off the season, and then losing 8 straight would be the worst, pathetic, most horrible thing ever. So that was pretty ugly. Before we get to the Ravens game, because it was pretty special, we'll go through some of the other games. really, one thing I have to mention, Mike and Mike actually were talking about it as the best moment of the NFL season, and I have to agree. The Colts game, not only did they get the win, which was great for them, but at halftime, two of their cheerleaders, if you guys haven't been following, which, if you haven't been following this, well, if you follow football, you have to refer to this, but Chuck Pagano, the Colts coach, was diagnosed with leukemia and hasn't been around to coach the entire season. The last 2 weeks, he's been able to come around and give some moral support, and this past week he was up in the box. Well, a few weeks back, the club, as a show of solidarity and unity together, I think like 35 people on the team all shaved their heads bald, since, you know, Pagano's going through leukemia treatments, which is a combination of radiation and chemo, so he doesn't have any hair. So really cool moment, you know, that a lot of the players did that. I really thought that was cool. But to take it another step, two of the cheerleaders ended up doing the same thing and shaved their heads bald. And it was such like a heartwarming moment. Not to get all sappy and whatever, but it really was a heartwarming moment. So thought that was probably one of the best moments of the season in terms of football, but not that football related. If you haven't had a chance to see it, go check it out on YouTube. I'm sure it's everywhere on there. Another pretty crazy game was the Browns beating Pittsburgh without Big Ben. I'm pretty happy about that. Then the biggest controversy of the week was Colin Kaepernick going to play? Ended up he did start. I'm sorry, was he going to start? He did start. Alex Smith was on the bench, and he led them to a win, 31-21. So pretty impressive for him. The Falcons had a pretty back and forth game with the Bucks. Ended up pulling it out 24-23. Game I mentioned earlier. The Giants destroyed the Packers on Sunday Night Football. I don't understand the Giants. They go from 1 week being like this to the next week of losing to, I think it was the Bengals. Just ridiculous. I don't understand them at all. So they ended up winning 38-10. Their defense just looked like they were playing on another level, and the Pack just didn't show up. And then Monday Night Football was the Panthers beating the Eagles. It actually was a pretty close game, the whole game, but didn't hold much of my attention. I was actually at the gym, and it was on one TV, and then like 3 TVs over, they were re-showing the final 2 tables worth of action from this past year's main event, final table cover, or break almost to the final table. And rather than watch Monday Night Football, I went and re-watched action that I'd already seen like 3 times. It's pretty sad, but that shows how boring the game was. But got to give a shout out to Cam Newton, and over 4 touchdowns, pretty impressive. And everybody was booing Vic and hoping for Foles to come in. Well, he might have looked good in the one game, but he only had 119 yards and no touchdowns, so not so good. Guys are probably wishing Mike Vick would come back now. And then finally, we'll get around to the Ravens game, which sadly I didn't get to watch. One problem being out here, you don't see many Ravens games. I don't know why I saw so many more of them in Arizona, but I don't see many out here at all. Score ended up 16-13. Ravens won over the San Diego Chargers in San Diego. But the thing that everybody's talking about, the moment of all moments, it's actually what Mike and Mike called the best play of the season. The cheerleaders cutting their hair was the best moment of the season. This was the best play. It was 4th and 29 with 1 minute and like 40 seconds to go. If I'm not mistaken, the Ravens didn't have any more timeouts. Flacco drops back, scans his first progression, nothing there. Second progression, nothing there. Third progression, nothing's there. Finally, dumps it off. Literally a dump off pass of 1 yard to Ray Rice, who ends up running 29 yards. Got a great block from Anquan Bolden. There probably should have been a penalty. Even when he got to the marker, I don't know if he actually got the first down, but I'm glad they messed up the chains. And OMG, he got 30 yards. He got there. The longest 4th down conversion in, I believe, 20 years, not assisted with the penalty. It's pretty awesome. They then ended up going on and kicking a field goal, and then in overtime got the win. So really excited about that. So went 1-1 with my teams. We are now 9-2, a very powerful 9-2 that nobody's talking about. I'm cool with it. I am perfectly cool with it. Don't need anybody to be mentioned in the Ravens. You guys can just not even worry about it, not even think that we're doing this well, and we're going to have Ray coming back. That's right. He's a ridiculous specimen, and they're talking about, even though he tore his tricep in week 5, that he could be back by December 16th. That's 2 weeks away. He's going to be cleared for practice this week. Like, how nuts is that? So 1-1 in my pro games. Now I ended up going 1-1 in my fantasy games as well. We'll start off with my loser, which was an absolute loser. This is in the BFFL League where I'm in first place. I've already locked up a playoff spot, but I sure would like to lock up first place overall. Be nice to get that first round bye, obviously. But ended up losing, and this is pathetic. I only scored 65.8 points and lost by 35.1 points. Guy scored 98.9. He had Drew Brees. He had Doug Martin, the muscle hamster, got 2 touchdowns. He had Adrian Peterson, who had a decent game. He did fumble, I think, but he still had a decent game. He had Demaryius Thomas, who had a decent game. And I didn't have a good game. My entire team, every player, combined, that many touchdowns. Not one touchdown. Had Josh Freeman, 256 yards, no TDs. Had Matt Forte, 2.6 yards, got injured. Had Antonio Gates, 1.8 points, doing horribly. He's been doing horribly the past 3 games. I don't know why I keep playing him. Andre Johnson had good points, 188 yards, I believe. No touchdown. Defense got blasted. Ended up with no TDs for the entire team. So that was a pretty ugly loss, but takes me to 8-4. Still pretty good. Still, got a playoff spot locked up. Hopefully, I can win the next game and get in the first round bye. We'll see. So let me get to the win, which is in the Any Given Sunday League. It was actually a pretty solid game. I ended up scoring 118.2 points and won against somebody scoring 111.14. I got some help from his team, but my biggest player was Tom Brady. Got 37.42 points, as well as a pretty decent effort from Frank Gore with 17.10, and an day from Chris Johnson, who got 11.9 points. Bo and Deshaun Jackson, Dwayne Bowe and Deshaun Jackson both got injured, so I think I got a combined 8 points from the 2 of them. And Houston defense gave up a lot of points to Detroit, a lot of yards. It was ugly. So they ended up sucking pretty bad. But thankfully, he had Carson Palmer, Marshawn Lynch, Michael Crabtree, Eric Decker, and Sidney Rice, who all had single-digit points. Then he did have Andre Johnson, who obviously had a great game. It was one of those things, we need him in one league, but I'm playing against him in the other. Hate how that happens, but when you're playing in multiple leagues, it happens every week. So thankfully, he didn't go off too much, and I ended up getting the win there. So ended up going 6-6 for that week, or in that league. That brings my record up to 6-6, and ended up going 2-2 for the overall week. So there you have it. That is week 12 of the 2012 Fantasy and NFL Football Breakdown. Let me know how you guys did, your teams, your fantasy teams. What are you getting excited about? Your team looking good for the playoffs? Yes, no? What do you guys think? So as always, thank you guys for checking out my videos. I might break out different jersey next week, 2-2. Not the best, so I might, depending on the matchup, I might bust out the Ray Rice jersey. We'll see. Just to change it up a little bit. But as always, thank you guys for checking out my videos. Stay tuned. I definitely have some more popping up. I promise I'll be getting up some poker videos soon. Just trying to build up some money. So definitely stay tuned with that. And yeah, until the next video, I am signing off. I am Matthew Maley. This is MatthewMaley.com. As always, check out the rest of my videos on MatthewMaley.com. You can also check me out on YouTube. Just search for Matthew Maley Poker. You can also check me out on Facebook. Search for Matthew Maley Poker there. Post all my videos up on there, and you can like and comment on them as well. You can also follow me on Twitter. I'm at Matthew Maley, always tweeting about the NFL and all kinds of stuff. And then finally, check me out on Instagram. I'm at Matthew Maley Poker. So follow me there, check out all my pictures, and I will see you guys on the next video. Peace out, y'all.